Ladies, you have to stop believing in fairy tales. It is nothing but smokes and mirrors. It is not real. It is a fantasy that is being sold to you. Fairy tales do not come from a place of empowerment. You will never find anything about self-development, taking charge of your life, accepting full responsibility for your decisions, etc. You never find any of that coming out of a fairy tale. In every single fairy tale, a woman is a victim or a damsel in distress, or she's helpless, because that is basically how society wants you to be as a woman, because, again, it's the patriarchy, blah, 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 yada, yada. You all know, right? And these women are waiting for someone to come in and sweep them off their feet and save them from their misery. When in fact, the reality is that a lot of women feel helpless and they are waiting to be saved. They're waiting for that one man to come and save them from all the bad decisions they'd made in their life, whether it be financial decisions, relationship decisions, just bad decisions. Because usually, if your life is in shambles and you want to be saved and maybe you're tired or whatever, it means that your life is a result of a series of bad decision making. I am holding your hand and telling you that you need to get your shit together and stop dreaming. Get your heads out of the cloud. I'm going to talk about the soft wife slash trad wife phenomenon on social media. And I'm going to compare it to classic fairy tales. And you're going to see the similarities in these stories and then these fairy tales that are being sold to you on social media. First things first, fairy tales are stories about people that are from a privileged class, privileged background. Nowadays, people that are selling you the trad wife lifestyle and the soft life or whatever, a lot of these people already come from privilege. They have money, which is why they can afford to sell you this lifestyle, this aspirational lifestyle. Because if you want to make it on social media, you have to be controversial. You have to be adding some kind of value, like helping people achieve their goals and their dreams, or you have to be aspirational. What do I mean by that? Or you have to entertain. So you have to be entertaining. So if you're funny or you know how to dance or whatever, and you're really good at it, and you know how to make the content pop, yeah, you can do that. All right. You have to be entertaining, you have to be relatable, or you have to be aspirational. And this is how you can make money or get followers online. Now, all the soft life content, Black women in luxury content, trad wife content, all of that stuff is aspirational because people that come from a less privileged background, which is the majority of people in this world, which is the working class people and perhaps lower middle class people, these people aspire to have a certain lifestyle. And the thing with the trad wife, I'm seeing a pattern where people want to have fresh food that are not full of chemicals and additives. People want to have beautiful homes and a specific type of lifestyle, like a luxury lifestyle. And they want to have the perfect relationship and the perfect family and the perfect body. Okay, like, so people like Nara Smith and this Hannah Nealman, these people represent the life that people are aspiring to, or people think that they're aspiring to, because you have a generation of women that are completely disregarding all the work that our ancestors did in the past. Because our mothers and grandmothers didn't fight for our rights so that we are able to own property and make our own money and provide for ourselves outside the trappings of marriage and being subjugated to a man. And then we still are in a patriarchal society, which means that marriage in of itself is put on a pedestal, and it's always that carrot that is dangled in women's faces, even to this day, in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2024. Unfortunately, that is the carrot that is still being dangled in the faces of women, and women are chasing this dream. So this is why these people can amass all this following on social media, because they represent everything that people want to be. They want to have the perfect body. They want to be able to have the kids and snap back, because that's what this what's her name, Hannah and Nara. These bitches are always pregnant, and somehow they manage to keep their figures and their beauty, and they look so good doing all that labor, because that's a lot of work. Now, I'm not really comparing Nealman and the Smiths. I'm not comparing them because it's similar, but it's two completely different situations. Okay. They're both Mormons, so that's where they're similar, but the way they present themselves and the way they present their homes and everything, it's like a fantasy. It's like it's a fairy tale, right? So going back to the similarities to classic fairy tales and modern day fairy tales manifested in the form of the child wives and soft life content on social media is that the women that were written about in these fairy tales, including Cinderella, were women that came from privilege. They came from money. Cinderella was not poor. Cinderella's father was new money. He was a merchant. And Cinderella's father married a lady who was old money, aristocratic, but had financial problems. So he married Cinderella's mother for the title. Unfortunately, he passed away or whatever. And, Cinderella ended up in the situation that she was in. I do not believe that an invitation was sent to every woman in the kingdom, because at the end of the day, you had to be able to read the damn invitation. And if you can't read that shit, what the hell? So I believe that that invitation to go to this ball was sent to women of a certain status. In those days, the people that could read those stories were people that could read, which means that these people were of an upper class and were obviously of a privileged class, because regular people did not know how to read. This is Future Maria just editing, and I just want to say really briefly that if you do not believe me when I said that a lot of these stories were written about people of noble class, there's always these themes in these fairy tales. Okay, for example, they would be living in a castle. Peasant people did not live in castles. They worked in the castles. They did not live in castles. Okay, in order for you to be living in a castle, you had to be of noble or royal bloodline. And the reason why I use, the fairy tales to compare, these tradwives family dynamics is because, again, what you are being sold is a fairy tale. Most of these tradwives or soft life content creator, a lot of them come from money, especially the tradwife genre. Hear me out. I went down a rabbit hole recently and I found out that a lot of these tradwives content creators, and it's not just tradwives, a lot of social media influencers, especially from the United States and maybe they from Utah or Texas or whatever, a lot of them are in fact Mormons. If you want me to make a video doing a deep dive on this specific topic, let me know and I'll do that video, but I'm not going to do it if you guys are not interested. But yeah, I just wanted to come in here and interject that and just reiterate my point. A lot of people that you see online come from a wealthy background or a privileged background. For example, when you look at an athlete like Simone Biles, okay, in order for you to become an athlete like Simone Biles, you have to have a solid support system. In our book club on my Patreon, which I highly recommend that you join because I think it's going to be a good investment. In our book club, we read a book called Outliers, and that book basically explained all of this. All right. So if you do not want to join the book club, I mean, we've read so many books over the years. But anyways, if you do not want to join the live book club reading or whatnot, go and get that book, Outliers, and start reading that book. If you can get an audiobook, even better. Obviously you can listen to it while you're driving or whatnot. But yes, going back to Simone Biles. Simone Biles was able to achieve so much greatness in gymnastics because from a very young age, her parents, which was technically her grandparents, because her grandparents adopted her, and they really invested in Simone Biles, talents and abilities, because gymnastics classes cost money. You had to have the time and the energy to go to the classes and take the lessons. You had to have someone to drive you to the lessons. So obviously she had people that had the time and the resources to invest in her. Okay, so you got to remember, a lot of these people that are in these aspirational situation, they did not start where you were starting from, and this is the reason why you should not compare yourself. So I have to come in here and say that really quickly. So yeah, back to the video. regular people nowadays and the peasant class or the working class have this golden opportunity where they are offered education, where they can now know how to read and write, and you all are not reading books. That shit is crazy, but I digress. So, very similar. These women came from either from an aristocratic background or basically came from money. And they had title like princesses and dukes and duchess or whatnot. Regular people did not get those titles. You all need to go back and reread your fairy tales that you grew up on and open your eyes. It's a fairy tale. It is being sold to you, and it's a lie, and it's a lifestyle or a dream that you may never achieve. And I'm not saying that you can't achieve your dreams. Yes, you can. But why do you want that dream? Why do you want that? The only reason you want this child wife life is probably because you're tired and because you have been indoctrinated by the patriarchy. You have marriage on a pedestal and you want to live this so-called traditional life that was never real to begin with and was only available to a certain class of people. So I'm making a point, I promise. Just bear with me. So just like the fairy tales, marriage was the end goal. Marriage and starting a family was the end goal. And they would tell you that they got married and they lived happily ever after. Why is this so important in these fairy tales? Because it's conditioning women to want marriage. And we all know that marriage benefits men more than women. And somehow men have convinced women that, they should aspire for marriage. And it's the only thing that you could ever want. And it's the highest achievement that you can ever achieve as a woman. Doesn't matter if you have talent, how good you are at something, how educated you are, you should always have marriage as a top priority. Yes, I am married, but one thing I can tell you, I do not have marriage on a pedestal. As a matter of fact, when I took marriage off the pedestal, that's when things really started changing for me. The way I view relationship changed, the way men treated me changed, the type of men that I attracted completely changed. It was like night and day. And I shared the story with you ladies. And when I met my husband, I had no intentions of getting married. Like that was literally the last thing on my mind. And when I eventually got married, like I couldn't believe how easy it was. I remember there used to be a time where I used to be jumping through hoops to get a man to see my value and want to marry me. As soon as I let that go and I literally took marriage off the pedestal, that's when I started getting marriage proposal, and that's when men started taking me seriously. It is so weird. Like I literally cannot explain this, but this is what happened to me. So when you take marriage off the pedestal, you get your power back. So going back to these fairy tales, one thing I do not do is sell fairy tales on this channel. I will tell you the truth. And, the truth is not popular and people don't like the truth because people love the fantasy. And this is why these people have millions of followers because you all are dreaming. You guys are in la la land. What these women are doing, they are masking their toxic relationship dynamic or situation or whatever, and they are selling you a dream because they want to feel like they've made the right decision. If they're getting validation from you and from the public, and they post their content and everyone's like, oh my God, you're so amazing. Oh my God, where did you get your dress from? Oh my God, you have such a beautiful family, blah, blah, blah. These women are posting that stuff for validation because I can guarantee you the women that are in healthy marriages are not making their marriage their entire personality. Because don't you all think it's weird that these women get on the internet, these couples get on the internet and have this camera in their children's faces? Like, you all think that is normal? Like, how could you all think that is normal? Putting your children out there. Like, I've never gravitated towards family content because something about family content always gave me the ick. So whenever there's a controversy or drama with these people, I literally have to be catching up because I do not watch these people. I don't. So, people will come. Some of you will come into my DMs and ask me to cover this story and ask for my opinion on this story. And then, of course, I have to be going around here trying to research as much as I can and put the video out in a timely manner so that I get it out while it's still relevant. But I can tell you that these couples where the wife is the traditional wife, or she's a housewife and she's always pregnant. And then there's the one that parade as a kept wife. They're always shopping because there's one other wife. I mean, they're divorced now. and that divorce is still going on and it's still messy, and you all know who I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Okay, if you've been a member of my Patreon and you've been an OG member of mine, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But you know, this is someone that I know, and I don't want to call any names. But I remember when that person was goals. That person was goals until she filed for divorce, and until we found out that she wasn't even actually legally married, until we found out that there was domestic violence, until we found out that there was cheating, until we found out that it was an entire facade and it was messy and ugly. But all the time, that was goals, and you were defending it. Listen, healthy families are not posting their life on social media. I want you to get this through your head. Get this through your thick skull. People that are in healthy marriages are not posting their entire life on social media like that. These people are acting. Everything is a production. And I'm going to talk to the women that are married right now. When you're cooking food for your husband or your kids, are you cooking that from scratch? Number one, are you doing that? Most likely the answer is no. Secondly, are you in your kitchen wearing designer clothes and a full beat? No, you are not. None of that shit is based in reality. All it is a business, it's a job, and it's just to sell you a dream, sell you a product, sell you something that you're going to be chasing and spending money to achieve, you know, this lifestyle that is not real, and it's only going to leave you broke and disenchanted. That's basically what's going to happen to you. I don't want my followers to be broke and disenchanted. That is why, you know, I don't charge a lot of money for my series and my book clubs and et cetera, my Patreon. I don't charge a lot of money. Anyone can afford it at any income, because my goal is to help as many women as possible, regardless of their income. If you don't have any income, then you should just focus on getting your shit together, because that shit is weird in 2024. That's crazy. But yes, these women, I cannot tell you if these women are happy, because if I come and I tell you that they are unhappy, then, you know, I can get called out for that simply because I do not have proof that these women are unhappy. I can only speculate because I observe patterns, and I know, because I am able to recognize patterns, I am able to predict the most possible or most likely outcome of a situation. But what I can say is that these women do not care about you or your well-being. They do not care if you can afford a lifestyle or not. These women are doing this because it gives them validation, and it makes them feel like there's something, like they're doing something, because they have basically sold themselves into a situation where they are not getting validated and they are not doing anything meaningful with their lives other than just being a trad wife or whatnot. And in order to cope with that, they get on the internet and they make this content for validation. Because that same person I was talking about earlier, I used to wonder why she's always posting her children. Like the camera is always in the children's face. And then all of a sudden she stopped posting the children, and then she started posting all her shopping sprees and her trips and stuff like that. And I'm like, why does she need this much attention? Because it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense that someone that supposedly is living the dream needs this much attention. If someone is selling you their lifestyle, be very suspicious. If they get on the internet and they make their marriage their entire personality, or being a soft wife or a kept wife their entire personality, be very wary, because there's something rotten going on, and you won't see it. It's only a matter of time, because what's in the dark will always be put in the light. So I just wanted to come in here and tell you that what you're being sold is a fairy tale. Those women, or the princesses, or the trad wives, or whatever you want to call them, most of those women come from a privileged background. Anyways, they are not starting where you are starting. Those women had a head start. You have to invest in yourself and work towards becoming the best version of yourself, so that you can attract the best, and stop comparing your life and stop trying to achieve a lifestyle that you probably don't even want. And the only reason why you think you want it is because you've been conditioned to think that it's the ultimate lifestyle to have, and it's the ultimate goal as a woman to have. You have to ask yourself, what do you want? What do I want? because a lot of women do not know what they want. You think you want this, you think you want to marry someone wealthy, you think you want to live a soft life. But what if you get that and then you get bored? And then what? You want to go back out to work or whatever. You have to think about what you want as a woman, because you all don't know what you all want. Getting married shouldn't be the ultimate goal. You should have other goals aside from marriage. And another thing, fairy tales in of itself, there's always a theme where a woman is rescued by an amazing man, like a prince or a knight in shining armor or whatever. So the patriarchy needs fairy tales. That's why in the fairy tales, the women that are trying to save you are always the villains. Okay? That woman or the witch or whatever they call her in Rapunzel was trying to save Rapunzel. Older women have experience. They know. And of course, they try to save you. And then, of course, the patriarchy will tell you that they're bitter and old and washed up and ran through, blah, blah, blah. We've heard it all. I've heard it too when I was, in my early 20s. So the women that are trying to save you and that are trying to talk sense into you are always the villain. All those fairy tales, those women came from aristocratic background or royal bloodline. Because no regular person gets the title of princess. I don't know why you all haven't asked yourself why, in fairy tales, everybody's a prince and everybody's a princess. Because they are writing about a certain class of people. They were usually the noble class. Your peasant ass was working in the fields or whatever. Try to build a life for yourself. Create your own fairy tale. I don't know. Try to build a life for yourself and stop comparing yourself to other people and stop buying dreams. Stop chasing dreams and fairy tales. You're not going to get anywhere if you keep chasing something that is not real. This child wife lifestyle and soft life is not real. And the women that are selling it to you, they are working. It's literally their job to sell that to you. These women are saleswomen. It is their job. I live a pretty good life, and I don't come on the internet and make that my entire personality. That's the difference between me and those other bitches. That's why they have millions of followers, because they sell dreams. Listen, if I start selling dreams today, you're going to see this YouTube channel is going to blow up overnight. Be wary of these people with all these followers, because I don't trust them. And lately, I'm seeing a lot of women just popping up out of nowhere and posting their weddings on social media. Like, they literally start their social media journey with their wedding or their marriage or their engagement. Recently, we had this wedding this huge wedding where all the celebrities were attended. Okay. Rich people are always flexing their weddings. So Sophia Richie literally had no social media presence. She wasn't on TikTok. She got married. She just started posting her wedding on social media and about her marriage, and the bitch blew up on social media overnight. These rich people will use their marriage and their lifestyle to get a following, because they know this is what people aspire to. And I have no issues with rich people. More power to them. But if you are not where you want to be financially, emotionally, mentally, you need to take a step away and start focusing on yourself. And you put yourself on that pedestal and you post content about yourself and you make it all about you. Because think of where you would be if you take some of that energy that you give to other people for free and you put it towards yourself. Think about where you would reach, where you would be. Okay, so the child wife lifestyle, the soft wife lifestyle, the Black woman and luxury lifestyle, those lifestyles are no different from classic fairy tales. You are being sold a dream. That's what I have to say today. Thank you for listening.